Hello, everyone. Welcome to Voice of English. This is the place where you can learn English by listening and practicing every day. Each day, we share simple lessons and helpful tips to help you speak English better and with confidence. So get ready to listen, learn, and speak English naturally.
If you tuned in to our last episode, you know we embarked on a fascinating journey into the world of phrasal verbs, those tricky but utterly essential combinations of words that make up so much of natural American English. We covered what they are, why they're so vital, and explored a fantastic first set of verbs that immediately help you sound more authentic. Well, based on your amazing feedback and how much that episode helped so many of you, we're doing it again. Today, we're diving even deeper with part 2 of Mastering Essential Phrasal Verbs. If you're still feeling a tiny bit overwhelmed by phrasal verbs, or if you're ready to take your understanding to the next level, you are absolutely in the perfect place. We know they can be a bit of a puzzle sometimes because their meanings often seem completely unrelated to the individual words. It's like magic. You put get and up together, and suddenly it's not just about moving your body upwards, but about leaving your bed in the morning. But trust me, once you start recognizing and using these powerful combinations, your English will truly transform. You'll stop feeling lost in conversations. You'll start understanding movies and podcasts without constantly pausing. And you'll begin to express yourself with a fluidity and naturalness that truly sounds like a native speaker. Imagine the confidence that comes with knowing you can keep up with any conversation. Native speakers use phrasal verbs constantly, effortlessly, in every type of conversation, from casual chats with friends to more formal discussions at work. They are the essential glue that holds together so much of our everyday language. Trying to communicate or understand without them is like trying to build a house without proper nails. It just won't hold together perfectly. Ignoring them means missing out on a huge, vibrant part of what makes American English sound. Well, truly American. Today, we're going to unlock another amazing collection of incredibly common and useful phrasal verbs. These are the ones that often have a bit more nuance or multiple meanings, which makes them super valuable once you understand them. We'll break down their precise meanings, explore different ways they're used with plenty of real life examples that you can easily connect with, and, crucially, give you simple practice prompts so you can immediately start putting them into action. We'll also gently touch upon some of the common traps and how to beautifully glide past them. By the end of this episode, my promise to you is that you'll have a much clearer, calmer understanding of another significant chunk of American English phrasal verbs. This isn't just about learning definitions. It's about building your confidence piece by piece, training your ear to catch these phrases naturally, and empowering your voice to sound effortlessly natural. So, whether you're building on your knowledge from part 1 or jumping in fresh, get ready for another power-packed yet wonderfully peaceful lesson. Let's not waste another moment. Let's get started on Mastering Essential Phrasal Verbs, Part 2. Before we dive into our new set of phrasal verbs, let's just do a quick, very simple recap of what a phrasal verb actually is, just to make sure we're all on the same page. As we discussed in Part 1, a phrasal verb is basically a verb. That's your action word, like get or look, combined with a small word that we call a particle. This particle is usually a preposition, like in, out, over, or through. The most important thing to remember, the real magic, is that this combination creates a brand new meaning that is often completely different from the original verb on its own. Think of it like this: the verb is a simple ingredient, let's say a plain piece of bread. The particle is another simple ingredient, maybe a slice of cheese. When you put them together, you don't just have bread and cheese, you have a sandwich. It's something new, something delicious, and something you use every day. Phrasal verbs work exactly like that. They take simple words and combine them to create something unique, something flexible, and something that makes our language sound so wonderfully conversational. They're what make English lively and real. Now, are you ready to explore our next set of essential phrasal verbs for part two? We'll go through them one by one, giving you crystal clear meanings, plenty of easy to understand examples, and quick practice opportunities for each one. Listen closely, relax, and feel free to repeat after me. Communication and interaction. Phrasal verbs. Let's begin with phrasal verbs that involve communication, expression, and making ideas clear to others. These are crucial for daily conversations and presenting your thoughts. First up, a very useful one for when you're trying to share your thoughts. Get across. This means to make something understood, to successfully communicate an idea or a message. It's all about clarity in your expression, making sure your listener truly grasps what you mean. For example, imagine you're in a meeting. I hope I was able to get my idea across clearly in the meeting today. Or sometimes when you're explaining something complex. It's sometimes difficult to get across very complex concepts in a really simple way. Even when you're learning, you might think, it took me a while to get across how important this lesson is to my daily English. Now take a moment. Think about an idea you want to share with someone. How would you express making it understood? Try saying, I want to get my point across so everyone understands. Next, we have a pair of phrasal verbs that are often used together when we talk about trying to persuade someone: talk into, and its opposite, talk out of. Let's start with talk into. This means to persuade someone to do something. It implies a bit of convincing or perhaps influencing their decision. For instance, a friend might say, my friend talked me into going to the concert last night, even though I was feeling a little tired. Or, she finally talked her parents into letting her go on the school trip to another country. You could even say, I'm trying to talk my boss into giving me a bit more flexibility with my work schedule. Now think about a time someone convinced you to do something fun or new. Say, my friend talked me into trying that new restaurant. The opposite, as you might guess, is talk out of. This means to persuade someone not to do something. You're convincing them to change their mind and avoid an action. For example, imagine a big purchase. I almost bought a new car, but my brother talked me out of it, saying I really didn't need it right now. Or if someone is making a rash decision, we all tried to talk him out of resigning from his job so suddenly, but he had already made up his mind. If you convince someone not to do something you thought was a bad idea, you might say, I'm glad I talked him out of making that risky investment. Another very common and flexible phrasal verb, especially in conversations, is bring up. This phrasal verb has a couple of important meanings that are good to know. First, and very frequently, it means to introduce a topic or a subject into a conversation or a discussion. Second, it can also mean to raise a child, to care for them as they grow up. So, for introducing a topic, I wanted to bring up the issue of the new budget during our team meeting this morning. Or, she always brings up really interesting and insightful points when we're brainstorming ideas. Sometimes you might even say, please don't bring that up again. It's still a very sensitive topic for me. And for raising children, it's certainly not easy to bring up 3 active kids in a big, busy city. Or if you're talking about your past, my grandparents actually brought me up for a few years when I was very young. If you have a subject you want to discuss, something on your mind, how would you gently introduce it? You could say, I'd like to bring up something important during our chat. Let's look at phrasal verbs related to distributing things or taking things from a place. These are great for everyday actions. We have give out. This means to distribute something to a group of people, essentially to hand things out one by one. Think of it like giving away many small items. For example, at an event, the teacher decided to give out the test papers to all the students right after the lesson. Or, volunteers were giving out free blankets and hot coffee to people experiencing homelessness in the cold weather. Could you please give out these flyers to everyone who walks by the booth? If you're distributing something, imagine yourself in that situation and say, I'll give out the snacks to the children. Closely related, but with some different important meanings, is put out. This phrasal verb is quite versatile. A very common meaning is to extinguish a fire or a light. Another meaning is to make something available for public viewing, use, or publication. So, for extinguishing, the brave firefighters quickly put out the small brush fire before it spread. Or, please make sure to put out all the candles before you leave the house and go to bed. For making available, the technology company will put out a brand new product next month and everyone is excited. Or, they usually put out new information about the upcoming festival on their website every Friday. If you're extinguishing something, like a fire, you might say, remember to put out the campfire completely before you go to sleep. Now, for those moments when you need someone to wait patiently or to hold on to something firmly, we use hold on. This means to wait for a short period of time, especially on the phone, or to hold tightly to something to prevent falling or dropping it. For example, if you're on a phone call and need a moment, please hold on a moment. I just need to connect you to the correct department. Or can you hold on? I need to quickly check something on my computer. And for holding tightly, please hold on tightly to the railing as you go down these slippery stairs. If you need someone to wait briefly, whether on the phone or in person, say, just hold on a second, I'll be right there. Very similar in meaning and often interchangeable in informal settings, we also use hang on. This informally means to wait for a short time or to hold tightly. Ooh, it's a bit more casual than hold on. For instance, hang on, I'm almost ready to go. I just need to grab my keys. Or, can you hang on to this important document for me for a minute while I tie my shoe? If you're telling someone to wait casually, perhaps your friends say, hang on, I'll be right back. And for when you need to reply to someone later, a very common phrase is get back to. This means to reply to someone by speaking or writing, usually after a delay because you were busy or needed to find information. You might say, I'm busy in a meeting right now, but I'll get back to you later this afternoon with an answer. Or, she said she would get back to me with all the information about the project by tomorrow. If you promise to reply to someone after a little while, say, I'll get back to you as soon as I have an update. A wonderful phrasal verb that expresses anticipation for the future is look forward to. This means to feel pleased and excited about something that is going to happen. It's about positive expectation. For example, I'm really looking forward to my vacation next month. I need a break. Or, we're looking forward to seeing you at the party on Saturday evening. You might also say, I always look forward to your new English in Moments episodes. If you're excited about an upcoming event, say, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. Problem solving and management phrasal verbs. Let's move on to phrasal verbs that are all about problem solving, overcoming challenges, managing situations, and how things actually turn out. These are super practical for everyday life and work. A very positive and active phrasal verb that you'll hear constantly is work out. This one is fantastic because it has several key meanings. First, it means to solve a problem or a difficult situation successfully. It suggests that things can be resolved. For example, don't worry about the small disagreement. I'm sure everything will work out in the end. Or, we need to sit down together and work out a fair solution to this problem. Second, it means to exercise or do physical training to stay healthy and fit. I like to work out at the gym 3 times a week to stay strong and energetic. Or, she always works out in the mornings before she goes to work. Third, it can mean to calculate or understand something, especially a complex calculation. I'm trying to work out the total cost of the entire trip, including flights and hotels. When you're hoping for a good outcome, you might say, I hope things work out well for your new business. Or, if you're exercising, say, I'm going to work out for an hour after this episode. Similar to workout in the context of problem solving and organizing, we have sort out. This means to organize or arrange something, often something messy or complicated, and also to resolve a problem or a disagreement, making things clear and orderly. For example, if your desk is messy, I need to sort out all these files on my desk. They're a complete mess. Or if there's a disagreement, let's meet tomorrow morning to sort out our differences and move forward. Can you help me sort out these papers into different categories? When you're organizing or resolving something, say, I need to sort out this issue before the end of the day. And a very common and essential one for handling difficult situations, deal with. This means to take action to solve a problem or to manage a situation or a person. It implies handling something that needs attention. For example, I need to deal with this urgent customer complaint right away. Or, how do you usually deal with stress after a long day? It's important to learn how to deal with difficult people calmly. When you're addressing a problem, say, I'll deal with that issue first thing in the morning. Another incredibly common and essential phrasal verb that has multiple important meanings is go through. This one is incredibly versatile. First, it means to experience a difficult, unpleasant, or challenging situation. She's going through a really tough time right now with her family, so please be patient and supportive. Or, they went through a lot of challenges and hard work to achieve their big dream of opening their own business. Second, it means to examine or check something very carefully, often from beginning to end. Could you please go through this entire report one more time and check for any spelling errors or mistakes? Or, we need to go through all the evidence very carefully before making a final decision. Third, it can mean to consume or use up something completely. We seem to go through a lot of coffee in this office every single day. Or, our car went through a lot of gas on that long road trip. If you're checking something carefully, perhaps a document, you might say, let's go through the plan step by step to make sure everything is perfect. When you recover from a difficult experience, an illness, or an emotional challenge, you get over it. This means to recover from an illness, a difficult emotional experience, a disappointment, or a shock. It implies a process of healing, overcoming, and moving on. For instance, it took him a long time to get over that bad cold he caught last winter. Or, she's trying very hard to get over her fear of public speaking by taking a course. It's always hard to get over a broken heart after a relationship ends. If someone is recovering from something, you might say, I hope you get over your illness soon and feel better. To invent or conceive of something new, a new idea, a plan, or a solution, we often use come up with. This means to think of or create something. It implies a bit of creativity or problem-solving effort. For example, can we all try to come up with a brand new, innovative strategy for marketing our product? Or, he always comes up with really great imaginative ideas during our brainstorming sessions. They need to come up with a viable solution to the pressing financial problem. But if you're trying to generate new ideas or solutions, you might say, let's try to come up with a truly creative solution for this challenge. A very common phrasal verb for accepting responsibility or a challenge is take on. This means to accept a responsibility or a task, to agree to do something. It can also mean to fight or compete against someone or something. For example, she decided to take on the new project, even though it was very challenging. Or, don't take on too many tasks at once or you'll get overwhelmed. The small company took on the bigger competitor in the market. If you're accepting a new responsibility, say, I'm ready to take on this new challenge. Sometimes machines, systems, or even people can stop functioning properly. For that, we use break down. This phrasal verb has a few significant meanings. First, it means to stop working, typically for a machine or a system. Second, it means to become very upset emotionally, often to the point of crying. Third, it can mean to divide something into smaller, more manageable parts for analysis or understanding. For a machine, my car suddenly broke down on the highway this morning, and I had to call for roadside assistance. For emotions, she broke down in tears when she heard the incredibly sad news about her old friend. For dividing, let's break down the entire project into smaller, more manageable tasks so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. If a machine stops working, you might say, oh no, my computer just broke down right in the middle of my work. And when you're trying to understand something that's difficult to see or hear, we use make out. This means to manage to see, hear, or understand something with difficulty, often because of poor conditions. It can also informally mean to kiss and cuddle romantically for understanding with difficulty. I can't quite make out what he's saying from here. The music in the background is too loud. Or, it was so incredibly dark I could barely make out the outlines of the trees in the distance. For romantic activity, informal, very casual. They were making out in the back row of the movie theater during the quiet scenes. If you're struggling to hear something clearly, say, I can't quite make out the words you're saying. Daily occurrences and situations. Phrasal verbs. Now let's explore some more phrasal verbs for daily occurrences. how unexpected events unfold, and how various situations develop over time. These are all about the flow of life. A very common one for concluding a sequence of events, often in a surprising way. End up. This means to finally be in a particular place or situation, often unexpectedly, as a result of a series of actions or a process. For example, after a long walk. After wandering around the new city for hours, we happily ended up at a fantastic little hidden cafe. Or, as a warning, if you keep driving without a map or GPS, you might end up completely lost in the countryside. He studied incredibly hard for years and ended up getting a really great job at a prestigious company. Think about a journey you took or a decision you made. Say, I hope I end up living in a beautiful place by the sea someday. A very practical phrasal verb for daily management is run out of. This means to use up a supply of something completely so that there is no more left. For example, oh no, we've run out of milk. I need to go to the store. Or I can't finish the report because I've run out of time. The car almost ran out of gas on the highway. If you've used up a supply, say, we've run out of coffee, so I'll make tea. When you need to escape or leave for a short break, you get away. This means to go somewhere for a short vacation or a break, or to escape from a place or a difficult situation. For instance, we're hoping to get away for a weekend trip to the mountains next month to relax. Or, unfortunately, the cunning thief managed to get away from the police before they could catch him. If you're dreaming of a vacation, say, I really need to get away from everything for a few days. When something new happens or appears, especially an issue or a topic, we often use come up. This means for a topic or issue to arise or be mentioned in a conversation or meeting, for something new to happen or appear unexpectedly. For example, a new problem has suddenly come up at work and we need to deal with it immediately. Or, what important questions did you come up with during your last discussion? Notice how this links to come up with. I hope nothing unexpected comes up today that changes our plans. If a new issue or topic suddenly appears, say, something important has just come up. To investigate something, to look into it deeply, we often say, look into. This means to investigate or examine a situation or a problem carefully. It implies a detailed inquiry. You might say, the company promised to look into the customer's complaint about the faulty product. Or, we need to look into this issue much more deeply before we can make a final, informed decision. If you're going to investigate something for someone, say, don't worry, I'll look into that for you right away. When you test something, especially something new, you try out it. This means to test something new to see if it is suitable, effective, or if you like it. For instance, I'm going to try out this new recipe for dinner tonight. I hope it's delicious. Or, do you want to try out the new software update to see if it fixes the bugs? You should definitely try out that new coffee shop that just opened downtown. Their lattes are amazing. If you're testing something new, say, I want to try out this new exercise routine at the gym. When someone faints or loses consciousness, even temporarily, we use pass out. This can also mean to distribute something similar to give out, but the fainting meaning is very common. For fainting, it was so hot and crowded in the room that a few people started to pass out from the heat. For distributing, The volunteers help to pass out informational brochures to everyone attending the event. If someone faints, you might say, he passed out from exhaustion after running the marathon. When someone or something arrives or appears, especially if it's unexpected or after a delay, we use show up. This means to arrive or to appear. For example, I waited for him for an hour at the restaurant, but he never showed up for our appointment. Or, a surprisingly large number of people showed up for the protest despite the heavy rain. If someone arrived, say, she finally showed up at the party around 10 p.m. To describe how things develop or are discovered to be in the end, we use turnout. This means to happen or develop in a particular way, or to be discovered to be a certain way. It often reveals the unexpected outcome. For instance, it turned out that the big secret was already known to almost everyone in the office. Or, the party turned out to be a huge success, even better than we had planned. I hope everything turns out well for you after all this hard work. If a situation develops, you might say, it turned out to be a beautiful sunny day after all the rain this morning. When someone enters a place by force or illegally, we use break into. This means to enter a building or a place illegally, typically using force or breaking a lock. For example, someone tried to break into my car last night, but luckily they didn't succeed. Or, the police suspect that the thieves broke into the museum through a hidden back entrance. If a building was entered illegally, you might say, someone broke into the office building overnight. And simply to return to a place after being away. Come back. This means to return to a particular place or location. For instance, I'll come back home right after I finish work today. Or, when did you come back from your amazing trip to Japan? If you're returning, say, I'll come back later to finish this task. Understanding the nuance, how particles shape meaning in deeper ways. As you've heard today, even with the same main verb, a different particle can create a completely new meaning. It's truly fascinating. Sometimes a single particle itself seems to carry a consistent, underlying idea across many different phrasal verbs. While this isn't a strict rule for every single case, it can be a really useful mental shortcut, almost like a hint to help you understand new ones. Let's gently explore the particle out again, but with a deeper look. Often, out suggests removal, completion, revelation, or external movement. Think of something moving from inside to outside, or something becoming completely done, or information being revealed. Find out. Here, out implies revealing information that was hidden or unknown. You find it out in the open. Go out. This is literal, leaving a place to go outside. Give out. Out means distributing to many, spreading it out. Put out. For a fire, you're taking it out of existence. For information, you're putting it out for the public to see. Work out. When you solve a problem, you often find a solution that works out a tangled situation. When you exercise, you're putting energy out. Chill out. Here, out implies getting rid of stress, moving it out of your mind or body. Run out of. You use something until it's completely out, gone. Or consider over. Often, over suggests completion, crossing a barrier, or reviewing thoroughly. It implies a kind of transition or thoroughness. Go over. When you review, you're going over every detail, covering it completely. Get over. You're overcoming an obstacle, moving over a difficult period. Talk over. You're discussing something over and over until it's completely understood or resolved. Recognizing these subtle patterns and tendencies of the particles can be a powerful tool as you continue to expand your phrasal verb vocabulary. But always remember the most important thing is still to learn each phrasal verb in its full, natural context. The patterns are just a helpful bonus to guide you along the way and make the learning journey a bit smoother. Advanced strategies for mastering phrasal verbs. Beyond the basics. You've now got an incredible foundation with dozens of essential phrasal verbs under your belt from both parts of this series. To truly integrate them into your fluency and make them sound incredibly natural, here are a few more advanced strategies to layer onto what we discussed in Part 1. These are designed to help you not just learn them, but truly live them in English. First, and this is a game changer, visualize and create strong mental images. Because phrasal verbs are so often idiomatic, directly translating them word for word won't work and can actually confuse you. Instead, try to create a vivid mental picture or even a small dynamic mental video clip for each meaning of a phrasal verb. For get over, don't just think recover. Imagine a person literally stepping over a huge, rocky obstacle to get to a beautiful, sunny, clear path. For break down, imagine a car suddenly stopping and steam coming out, or a person slumping down, overwhelmed with tears. These strong, personal mental images act as incredibly powerful memory aids that bypass direct translation and go straight to meaning. Second, embrace the power of spaced repetition. This isn't just a fancy phrase, it's a scientifically proven method for memorizing vocabulary much more efficiently than traditional rote learning. Instead of just reviewing long lists, use digital flashcards or a dedicated spaced repetition app, like Anki or Quizlet, which are very popular. With these tools, you're prompted to recall the phrasal verb's meaning and even its separable, inseparable nature at increasing intervals. If you get it right, the next review is scheduled further in the future. If you get it wrong, it shows up again sooner. This ensures you're reviewing precisely when you're about to forget, optimizing your memory retention and making the process feel less like a chore. Third, a wonderfully creative way to practice is to engage in storytelling with phrasal verbs. Instead of just isolated sentences, challenge yourself to tell a short story, describe a past event, or even explain a complex situation using as many of the new phrasal verbs as you can. For example, this morning I had to get up really early because my alarm unexpectedly went off too soon. I quickly had to figure out what to wear, put on my clothes, and then I headed out the door without much thought. On the way to work, I happily ran into an old friend I hadn't seen in ages, and we quickly decided to hang out after work. Later, a big problem suddenly came up at work, but luckily, after a lot of effort, we managed to work it out by the end of the day. When I finally got home, I just wanted to chill out and relax completely. This active creation process forces your brain to integrate them naturally into connected speech. Fourth, pay very close attention to native speaker intonation and stress. Phrasal verbs often have a specific stress pattern that can make a huge difference in how natural you sound. Usually, the stress in a phrasal verb falls on the particle, the second word. For example, listen carefully. Turn on the light, not turn on the light, or look up the word, not look up the word. When you're actively listening to native speakers, pay attention to which part of the phrasal verb they emphasize. Mimicking this specific stress pattern will make your own speech sound much more natural and native-like, even with correct vocabulary. Fifth, and this is truly invaluable, practice regularly with a language partner or a tutor. This provides a safe, supportive space to experiment with these new phrasal verbs without fear of judgment. Tell your partner or tutor that you're focusing on phrasal verbs this week and ask them to gently correct you if you use one incorrectly or to encourage you to use them more often. Role playing different everyday scenarios, like ordering food, talking about a problem you faced, describing your weekend, or giving advice, will provide excellent organic opportunities to practice using these phrasal verbs in real conversation. This active output is where the magic truly happens. You have truly put in incredible effort today, diving deep into another vital set of phrasal verbs. You've now built an even stronger, more robust foundation for understanding and speaking American English like a local. Each phrasal verb we've covered today, and in part one, is a powerful tool that will make your English sound more authentic, more fluent, and more confident. You are making amazing progress. Remember, the journey to language mastery is a continuous and rewarding one. And every single step you take, every new phrasal verb you learn and consciously use, brings you closer to your ultimate goal. Don't ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of them. Instead, celebrate each one you understand and successfully add to your active vocabulary. That feeling of understanding a new phrase and then using it yourself is truly a victory. Your dedication to improving your English is truly inspiring, and I'm so grateful to be a part of your learning journey here at English in Moments. If this extensive episode brought you significant value and helped you unlock another crucial layer of natural English, please remember to show your support by giving us a thumbs up right now. Also, please leave a comment below to tell me just one new phrasal verb you're excited to start using from today's episode, or a specific situation where you might use it. I love hearing from you. And of course, please subscribe to our channel. Hitting that bell icon will ensure you never miss a new episode, as we're here daily to help you on your English learning path. You can always find a treasure trove of additional resources and past episodes right here on our channel to continue your progress. Keep practicing, keep immersing yourself in real English, and keep embracing the incredible journey of mastering this wonderful language. You're doing absolutely amazing. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy learning.